We have made it very clear that we are more than prepared to join the ANC and work in the government of national unity. But we can't do it with the people who killed Krisani, the people who tortured our own people, the people who oppressed us, the people who are advocating that every progressive policy must not be implemented. That's why you've got this noise from Donald Trump. They are at the center of that. They thought they were going to bully the ANC in that GNU, and the ANC will develop a cold feet. The ANC is pushing forward ahead. They now are seeking external intervention, which seeks to undermine the sovereignty of South Africa. So the ANC must know that we are just outside, we're at the doorstep. Once they remove the DA and they want a partner, we are in. There's no government that is going to collapse here because Helen Zille says so. We're not going to hear from Helen Zille. So, yeah. Look, we're being modest when we say if Rwanda is found that it has killed our soldiers, it must be held responsible. It was Rwanda. It was Kigali, it was Kagame who killed our soldiers. The support he gave to M23, and that M23 acting in a disrespectful manner they did to the South African soldiers. They knew they've got a backing of Rwanda. But now, why do you want to treat Rwanda like it's a friend, like it's progressive? Rwanda was prepared to take immigrants from London at the exchange of money. They are the ones who are working with imperialist forces to want to undermine DRC. We're not saying the government of DRC is perfect, but it cannot be undermined the way the guy is doing. Kagame and Museveni. So Kagame has got blood of South Africans on his hands, and nothing is going to change. Now we're told the bodies are decomposing. There's no clear passage to can go and collect the bodies. They've captured the South African base, by the way, and they're not telling you this in confidence. They keep on talking as if things are fine. Things are not fine. They've captured the base next to the airport. What is that airport? The Goma airport. Our base is captured there. Our soldiers are under the supervision of M23. When they want to go to a toilet, they ask for permission from M23 and they accompany them to a toilet. This were told by a soldier on the phone. Deputy President of the EFF was there. He says the only thing they haven't done to belittle us and make us more humiliated and violated is that they've not taken our guns. That's the only thing. But even if they carry those guns, what can they do? You're going to shoot and run away. Because you've got soldiers inside your camp and more soldiers outside your camp. So there's no need. They know you can't do anything with those guns. So they've destroyed the South African army. You could say we cut the budget, but you still send soldiers outside South Africa. You still send soldiers outside South Africa even when you don't have budget. You must first deal with your house first to be in order before you can go and help other people. South Africa's army is not in order. Someone was saying they've released fighter jets, hey, on good road. There's nothing, there's no fighter jet, nothing. Till today, there's nothing. Where is that Roy Falk who were told growing up that is the best fighting machine. Where is it? Grounded. And then because this failure is done by favorites of the establishment, they are not exposing their failures. If it was a different government, for sure, the pictures of those soldiers of South Africa who were captured were going to be circulating now. The reason why we no longer see those videos of South Africans, they took phones away from them. They no longer have phones. So there is a big problem. We have no capacity. That's why I'm not saying let's go and attack. I'm saying withdraw. Let's regroup. Let's regroup and retrain. And if Rwanda has got anything to do with this, let's go for them. Because we're not going to have Rwanda dictating to us. And Kagame speaking to Cyril the way he was doing. We know Cyril is weak, but he remains the president of our country. The way he was addressing Cyril, he was addressing us. He can't address us like that. He can't kill our people and not be challenged on that. And SADC agrees that the Rwandan army had something to do with what is happening there. Who is the commander-in-chief of the Rwandan armed forces is Kagame. We are not saying DRC is in a good hands and therefore it's just being provoked. By how DRC has dealt with issues in Eastern DRC is something that needs to be resolved if we're to have a permanent resolution into that crisis. But to undermine colonial borders because you think you've got a backing of France and all imperialist forces to an extent of challenging the biggest army, South Africa, they've undermined us to the extreme. And South Africa, at some point, it might not be today because we are not in a rightful position to do so. Let the soldiers come back. Let our brothers and sisters come back. Let's give them a dignified funeral. And as part of a mourning nation, that demonstration by army at the opening of parliament was not supposed to come. They were not supposed to have that parade on Thursday during the State of the Nation address. You are going to parade what, man? Agar parading is to show us how capable you are. You are exposed. They're going to be intimidating us there with 21 gun salute as if they can use it anywhere else. It can only be used there during rehearsals. So if I was in the army, I would suggest if in parliament we don't go, we must be ashamed. The only way we are going to reclaim our dignity is by receiving those dead bodies, bringing back the soldiers, giving the dead bodies a dignified send-off, and regrouping and retraining and putting a very strong team that will go back and reclaim South Africa's place in the continental politics, because as things stand, we're a joke. We're not members of MK. We're going to Parliament as EFF. As to what happens with MK, I don't know. We don't know anything. We don't have anything that has got to do with MK. It just happened that we sit next to them in Parliament, and when issues are raised, we don't first listen to what MK is saying before we can formulate a view. Whether MK is agreeing or not agreeing on any view we hold, it is an EFF view and we'll express it. If they agree with our view, we'll both express it. But it doesn't make us anything. We're not anything. We literally don't want anything to do with MK. We even ask them not to come to funerals of EFF. Don't want to see them. Even us, we have stopped going to the derby because we don't want to meet them by mistake by the derby day. But DP has raised a very creative method. Or no, we can go to the derby. We'll have a separate suit where we'll go. Can we meet them in that thing of presidential or what? Because that presidential thing, you meet a lot of clowns there. So the best thing, let's stay away from those things. We don't want anything to do with those people. What this will be the second State of the Nation address by the president after the elections, and nothing changed from our approach in the first one to this one. We've made it clear that we're going to be a party we've always been, a party of substance, a party of superior logic, a party that is going to give more input, more constructive input. But it doesn't mean we can't be robust in our approach. It doesn't mean we can't be radical and militant in our approach. So you can't say, my sister, when you are running out of questions and say people are running out of ideas, it's you running out of questions. How does picket line have to do with parliament? I mean, you want to sound intellectual, but in the process, you're so empty. You say, you said in parliament you can't do 1, 2, 3, pack that one. You said in parliament you can't do that 1, 2, 3, pack that one. And then you say, but now you are saying you are going to the picket lines. Are you running out of ideas? What does that have to do with parliament? If we don't ask sponsored questions, rather our questions are subjected to a thought process before you throw insults at people and say they are running out of ideas. You should check if you are not running out of questions. And if you are running out of questions, it's not necessary to ask a question if you don't have one for the sake of doing it. There's no one who's running out of any question. For 12 years now, for 12 years, every year, Maoleo, 12 years now, every year, EFF has come with a theme for the year. Every year. And it has never been the same theme to demonstrate we are not running out of ideas. If it was the same theme, we will be running out of ideas. It's not the same theme. So if you come with an intention to swear, and if there's nothing you can swear at, and you just swear anyway, it's unnecessary. It has got a potential to destroy a serious potential. When you go to a press conference like this, go with an open-minded. Let's go and hear what they are saying and ask questions that are relevant, not sponsored views. ESCOM load shedding is not gone. I don't think they are clear what they want to do. You see that job, we've got a very good CEO there. He needs to be given support, and all kinds of support must be given to him. But that celebrity wannabe mayor must know his limit. Because if he thinks he can now compete the CEO of ESCOM, that ESCOM achievement on not having load shedding are attributed to him as an individual. He wants them. He wants self-gratification, self-glorification. That is going to undermine the good work that people are doing there. He must chill. He's got no idea what he's doing. Let him leave those people to do what they are doing. And we've got full confidence in the CEO of ESCOM, and we hope that he will not disappoint. We hope he will, within a short space of time, give us a permanent solution, because there must be a permanent solution out of this. the GNU partners are working with USA. They are working with the USA because how do you differentiate Freedom Front Plus from AfriForum, from Solidarity, from Orania, and all manner of things? And if you come to a conclusion that these things are one, their principle is the DA. I'm saying to you, the people here who are using scare tactics, hoping that the ANC will develop a cold feet. So because they can't find their way, they go and call on their big brothers to come and bully the ANC. So the ANC is not in a coalition with people who share a vision with them. That's why they are struggling the way they are struggling. They just went around picking up riffraff and then putting it in a government of national unity. And when you ask, but why do you do what you are doing? They say, no, we want power. It's about power. They don't care whether you are a bandit, whether you have a good reputation in society, anything that can give them power, they will go for it. They are working with parties that are giving our children drugs in El Dorado Park, feeding children drugs, and everywhere else. And how do you, in your conscious, rightful mind, be so proud to work with people who have got no regard for female, that a leader of a party you are working with can just call a female private part in public like that, and then you call that a partner, because you are so disparate to get power. It's all about power. They don't care about integrity. They don't care about the legitimacy. They don't care what does this do to the image of our country. And then they go away from those who are not very close, who are not very far on policy perspective with them, and choose ex-prisoners, some riffraff, some you can't even explain whether they are going or they are coming. So I guess maybe South Africans get the government they deserve. Maybe you deserve this kind of government. But the ANC has never bothered to take you into confidence, politically and ideologically, as to why would you go with the enemy agents in bed? Why would you go in bed with people who killed Christiana and say we can kill him again if we get an opportunity to do so? Why do you go with people who have killed our people in Flag Plus and say we can do it again? There's no problem. Then what were we fighting for? If the reality is that these people can continue to lead even after we claim victory. So the ANC must be ashamed that it has put South Africans where they've put them. They must be ashamed that they are actually peeing on the graves of heroes and heroines of our struggle. Peter Mokaba should be turning in his grave. Because there is a video of Peter Mokaba that says, we are not in a struggle of power sharing. We can't share power with de Klerk. And then someone goes and gives a lecture about Peter Mugabe as if he knows him. But if you know Peter Mugabe, you can't advocate for the things that Mugabe never stood for. Mugabe made it very clear. We are not negotiating for power sharing. We can't share power with de Klerk. We can't share power with murderers. I will not be shocked one day when they say Netanyahu is a special advisor of Sir Ramaphosa. They've got no shame, these people. At all. They have no shame at all. Their political consciousness has escaped them. So we will not do that. If it means staying outside, so be it. You will rather die with your conscience very clear. There's an old man who died very poor in Limpopo called Lawrence Poganuk. He was in Robben Island, an astute intellectual, very clear on Marxism, on Lenin. Ideological clarity was something else. He died not being anything, not holding anything material and otherwise, because he said, but this is not what we're fighting for. He had the best credential compared to all the clowns that were leading when he was still alive. But he refused to participate in any government of these people. He said, no, this is not what we're fighting about. This is not us. And I hope Lawrence Poganuk will not be turning in his grave. I hope he will be smiling that what he warned us about is exactly what is happening right in front of our eyes. And that proves him right, that indeed Lawrence Poganuk was right about these people. This is not what our people fought for. This is a complete reversal of the gains of 1994. The gains which we should be using this government of today, where there is no outright winner, to say, how do we build on the gains of 1994? So be rest assured, the EFF, it's a growing organization. It's a very powerful organization. In all respect, and they all know. That's why when they all go crazy, they attack the EFF because they know it's an unstoppable force. We are now going to establish sub-regional structures. Why? We're moving away from elitist structures of people just moving around with titles with no clear role and going closer to the people. We now are consolidating all the youth under one umbrella because the youth hold a critical role in the politics of South Africa. And we know that this youth command of the EFF is the one that will be leading the charge. You must just look at how the EFF is going to massively be mobilizing both young and old people behind the vision of economic freedom in our lifetime. We don't run out of ideas in the EFF. We don't run out of attracting people in the EFF. So you can't say, are you struggling to attract people? We can go to FNB or Orlando Stadium or any other field. People will come. We'll attract people because we've got ideas that are attractive. We attract young people because our ideas resonate with young people, and we are the only thing that makes sense to the youth of South Africa. Thank you.